Welcome to the Boardroom. A podcast from Miami for Miami. Sponsored by Physical Therapy Now. If it's happening in the health and legal business, we're talking about it. Andy Zapata holds a bachelor's degree from Florida International University and has had a distinguished 18-year career in the healthcare business. He's an expert in startup businesses, helping grow small and medium-sized medical centers in healthcare industries. He knows what he's talking about. This is the Boardroom. And here's your host, Andy Zapata.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what an honor and privilege on this fun Friday to introduce Mr. Craig Clingman, aka Wow,
that's great. I thought someone else was in the room. That was very exciting. I looked, who was it? But that was me. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for having me on. I even brought my great Surfer SoCal shirt. So happy to be here today.
Craig, and first of all, let's start with a fun fact. Why do they call you SoCal? Craig SoCal.
Well, good question. Sean Kelly, a good friend of mine who you know, I figure I didn't know how to put names on the little screen, right? So I thought, how can I make it fit? So I put Craig from SoCal. So just not everybody's from SoCal. So there you go.
So SoCal stands for Southern California.
Yes.
Awesome. So you are in Southern California. What city?
I'm in Wildomar, which is about an hour above San Diego.
All right. So close to San Diego, an hour north or south of San Diego?
North of San Diego. Anything below San Diego, you're in Mexico.
And okay. And you are on the beach, from what I can see?
I am. I wish I was that close. I'm about 45 minutes to Oceanside. That's the nearest place you can surf.
Awesome. And the reason I ask you these questions is because what we're about to talk about is so important. So you're really on the tip of the West Coast of the United States of America. And what's going to happen is that you shared some news with me that was amazing. And it's a formula for real estate that I've never, ever heard about. And so I thought it was so important and so different, the real estate investments that you're making, that I had to have you on this podcast, and I had to ask you to share what you're doing in the world. So SoCal, tell us a little bit about who you are and your past. Who are you? What have you been doing the last 30 years?
Well, the last 30 years trying to keep my wife happy, and that's been good, right? And I think every guy has to be motivated by that, right? The last 30 years, it's funny you say 30 years because I've been married 32 years. But the other thing is I realized that the last 30 years is when I had first learned about money. And I know that might sound a little silly, but I didn't learn about money till I was about 29 years old.
Got it. So first of all, congratulations on having a beautiful marriage for over 30 years. And second, what do you mean you just learned about money at the age of 28 or 29?
Well, I say that because I was excited. I was working hard. My parents, a good work ethic, and I was excited about being married. Actually, this was right before I got married. I needed a car, and I didn't care. I had $1,000, and my parents said, "Hey, we'll help you go buy a car." I would have gotten a used car, but I didn't know you could finance a used car. So I got a new car, and after I ended up paying off, I was paying like 25%. And I didn't know, I just didn't know about money. I learned that seems a little high. And so that's when I learned about money.
And Craig, tell us about the career that you chose, that you told me about, that you were a professor, a teacher.
Yes.
For how many years were you a teacher?
And I still am. I've been teaching for 31 years. I teach special ed now. And it's funny, you need credentialing for all of this. If you're a good mom or if you're a good dad and you coach, then you're a teacher. But I've been a teacher the last 31 years. I love working with people. And now there's a transition for me. I love teaching. That's the funnest thing I like to do, is see people do better.
Wow, that is a beautiful trait that you have. And I can tell you're just, I mean, I know you. So you're an amazing human being that loves to give and teach and pass down that education and baton. So thank you so much for being that special individual.
Thank
But
you.
let's jump right into it because this is important. Like, tell me about the real estate formula that you have. Like, I hear this is what I have in my head, and I want to share with people. Like, are you a real estate agent, first of all?
Yes.
Okay, so you are a real estate agent. Now, have you been a real estate agent your whole life?
No, I've only been a real estate agent the last, well, 28 years.
Okay.
Time flies.
Okay. So a long time. Okay. And have you sold a lot of homes for people?
I've sold homes for people only in Southern California. I've flipped homes. I've pulled a mobile home off of Indian Reservation, Arizona. My son and I painted it, put in the windows, then sold it. And it's called mobile homes have to have a 433 foundations to be financed, right? So if you put on a mobile home on something that can't be financed now, it's worth more. So everything on real estate, pretty much I have done.
Okay. Perfect. That's what I'm getting to. And so traditional real estate is like you buy a home, you sell a home, or you sell a home for somebody and you make a commission, or you buy a home, you renovate a home, and then you flip a home, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, as a realtor, you're doing that for people, and some of those I just did for myself. But yeah, either way.
Okay, good. And so now you're doing things much different that you would traditionally, right?
Absolutely. I don't even use my real estate license. So yeah.
So for what you're about to explain to me, you don't even need to be a realtor. Like, I'm not a realtor. I love realtors. I have a bunch of friends who are realtors, but I don't need to be a realtor to make the investment of owning property and flipping property and just making money on real estate, right?
Correct. Yeah, my son, he's a customs agent. He's doing what I do, and he's having a great time. He just bought himself a beautiful house. And again, he doesn't know he knows the process, but he works. He works sometimes 16-hour shifts. He wants to put his money where he can get a higher return. So yes, great
So what you're
opportunity.
telling me is that a teacher, a agent that works for the customs, right? Is that
Yes,
where your son works? Customs agent
yes,
can still make money working 16 hours a day, can still make money and profit in real estate.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Craig. So I got to hear a little bit more. Let's talk to the audience and, like, what are you doing in real estate that's making you money, and whose formula are you using, and like how can I learn more about this? So tell me about the formula. What is it that you're doing?
Well, I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you my quick journey on a lot how I found this. I had 5 homes in Kansas City, Missouri, and I had anything from a house, a kitchen being burnt, and having to me over the phone have somebody get over there and fix the kitchen. Good old Miss Betty, 70 years old. Her son helped put in all the flooring and everything. And I was making money, but a lot of work and a lot of stress. And if you're a good rehabber or do something at home, that's one thing. Within out of state, that's more difficult. None of that. What I came upon, and here's the deal: I came upon Chris Crone a year and a half ago, and Chris Crone was doing everything I do. And now here's the key. Here's this difference between Chris Crone and trying to have somebody do it. Is Chris Crone is high integrity. I went to Chris Crone's house. I've met his family. I've done this last year. I've been with trips all over just to learn who Chris Crone is. He's the real deal. And you can look him up. It's Kris. The last name is Crone, Krohn. And you can learn a lot through Chris Crone. And there's some people that want to do the real estate like that, but most people don't want to do that. Most people are afraid. Why do you want to get into another profession, right? So what I found with Chris Crone is he does all of the things it takes to make good money. There's reasons why he invests. There's 320 markets throughout the country. He picked Florida and Tennessee, Memphis to be specific, and Florida, about a half hour below Orlando, which I have a home in there too. My son has one. And basically, Chris Crone does everything now All you do is you put your money in. And here's the deal. I'm not even really excited about real estate. That is exciting, but it's taking most people. My son is a customs agent. They get about 3% return on their money. You know what my son did this year? Because they have the tax law, you can take out money without penalty. He bought a house in Florida and he's going to get a 16% return. And you know what he needs to know about it? Zero. All he needs to know is that he owns a house and the bookkeeping is all done. End of the year, he gets a K-1 statement showing what the LLC did. And that's because his house will be in an LLC. All that's through the Chris Crohn's team.
Wow. So Chris Crohn's formula. And so let's dig into it because I've heard a couple of things here. I heard 16% versus 3%, profit. So Chris Crohn's formula, okay, from what I have understood, like I don't even know I don't need to know who my tenants are. Basically, Chris Crohn and your team find me a home. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it can be in Tennessee, it can be in Florida. We are in Florida, but you guys will find me a home, right? And you're in Southern California. So you have homes in Florida and in Tennessee.
Yes.
And have you ever met your tenants?
Never. I couldn't, if you put a gun to my head, I could not tell you who their names are. All I know is that, when COVID came, right? And they're saying, oh, COVID this, and like, oh man, what's happened with renters? In Tennessee, my rent went up $125. And they just renewed my lease. Again, all this is done. I just get a report and they say, this is what is done. So
wow.
There's nothing. And with all, Chris has done 4,200 homes. So it's not like he's trying to figure it out. He's done this for 16 years. 2008, when properties went down, his properties, he used to be in Phoenix and Vegas, and property's doing fine.
So let me understand. So you don't know who your tenants are. So from what I have understood, you guys find a home, you guys rehab the home, you guys rent the home, and then if you guys want, or if the owner wants, like myself, you guys sell the home for us.
Yes.
And that's where we make our profit.
Yes, absolutely.
So let me understand this again. So you find me a home that has a little bit of equity, right? And you have your parameters to find a good home, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, we call it the little box. Has to fit in that box. There's no emotion to it. You don't have to worry about you or your wife like, oh, that's a beautiful home. Or look, no, we don't buy it that way. These homes, I'll give you an example. Florida, they're around 200,000. The median build price is around 250 to 270 in Florida. So that's a huge key. There's a lot of factors that go into why, but also the rent has to be here and the mortgage down here. And that's the reason out of 320 markets around the country, that's why he picked those two right now.
Got it. So there has to be a good rental value. There has to be some equity. And so there's a box of, you don't look for the pretty homes. You look for the home that has the best value and the best deal. And so you find a home. If there needs paint or replacement of carpet or replacement of kitchen, I don't have to worry about finding a contractor or any of that, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So you guys do that, but I put the money, right, to do the rehab.
Yes.
So from what I'm hearing is like, go ahead.
Matter of fact, the house I got, very similar to this, there was about $3,600 of rehab. It was getting a refrigerator. Some areas they expect the refrigerator, right? It was putting carpet in a room and then I think painting the interior. But the bottom line is they know exactly that. You got to know the area. See, when I was in Kansas City, you got to know the areas are very important. So with that, they will even show you, hey, here's the home that you're going to buy, right? Because he gets about one house a day. So
right.
Hey, I want to get a house in Florida. And so they'll come to you. Your decision is basically, okay, that looks good. All right, let's go for it. That is it. The repairs and everything. I had your air for I forget what it's called, the refrigerant in your AC. I got a bill for that had gone down. So all those different things they already have factored in. They have factored in 8% of the rent. So that'd be $120 a month already goes to that. So they've got it all in place. It's like a machine with 4,200 homes.
4,200 homes under this formula right now.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back because it's a little, It's a little different, and I want to make sure everybody understands. So you find me a home, I buy the home, right? I put up the money to buy the home.
Yes.
So typical, their homes are between 200 and 250, right? In Florida, from
Yes.
what you have said.
Yes.
Okay. So with some equity and some good rental value. So you find me a home, but I buy the home. We put it in an LLC, right? We create an LLC
Yes.
that we both own, right? So it's like I put up the money and you put up all the work. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
So go
the way
ahead.
we do the home is you own 100% of the home. We call it a buyout option. The buyout option is you pay, it's kind of like, I don't know, would say a broker fee or connection fee, but that's where the 16% comes out. You actually own the own home, and it's managed by Derek and Allison Law. And there's about 4 key people that do everything, and we're very good communicators. So that's the good part.
Got it. So I own the home. We put it under LLC, but the LLC is managed by an entity that is in charge of any repairs and any vacancies, right? So if there's a vacancy, they're finding the tenants right away to get it rented. So I never have to worry about vacancy or not, correct?
Correct. My house in Memphis, for example, the one tenant, they left after well, just about in the year, but it wasn't formal. The management company, hey, they'd moved out, they got their deposit, they fixed it up, and it was rented within, I think, about 15 days, which it always won't get rented that quickly.
Wow.
But all those expenses and timelines are figured in. After 4,200
Yeah.
homes, they have it down.
Wow. And so they have the data to make sure that they can rent it quick. They have the resources to make sure they can rent it quick. And so your chances of it not being rented is slim to none, right?
Yeah, because the other thing, here's the other Kay, learned this in Kansas City. When a realtor even tells you, oh, you can get this much rent. How do you know that? Because what do they care? They've sold you the house. How do you know that? Chris's rent was 101% correct. I'm not saying it's a phrase. That's what it is. It's 101%.
Right,
So
right.
if he says the rent's going to be 100, his average, you'll get 101. Or if your rent's 1,000, his average, you'll get $1,010 rent. So they're right in there. And that's
Got
what
it.
mine was. Florida, my rent, they said was $1,525. I got $1,525.
Wow. And so do you make money off the rent? Because if the mortgage is like, let's say $1,200 and your rent is $1,500, is there any profit there on the rent?
Yes, the average rent over 7 years, right, is a little over $300 a month extra after repairs, after everything else. And the beauty of that, Andy, if somebody, and we're different ages, right, when people invest, but if somebody says, hey, I only want to get, say, 5% of my investment, a lot of times out there in the market, what people don't know, 5% is that $300 a month, but your house is still growing. You haven't sold your house. You could spend that rent if you want. Now I tell people, no, first year, just let that money keep going. But it's a beautiful thing as far as being able to control your asset.
Wow. So chances are you could make some money on the rent. And let's take a step back because there's so many things going on, right?
Yes.
So you find a home, you rehab the home. I don't have to step in there. I don't have to worry about contractors, painters, like putting a rug in, refrigerator. I don't have to worry about any of that. So you find a home. I buy the home with my money. It's under an LLC that you guys control. And so you rehab the home, you rent the home, and then you manage the home. All this in exchange for what?
That fee I told you that someone pays at the beginning, that is it. We've already get our money getting it set up. And what's really nice about this is you have about 4 key players. Citravest is a management company, say down in Florida, and they're very good communicators. So Jennifer, she's the one who pays all your bills. She pays your mortgage. She'll pay the HOA. She sends you the K1 statement at the end of the year. Derek Law and his wife Allison, wonderful. They're agents for the LLC. They manage it. And Chris's team, Tyler Bennett, they go out and work on these properties. And the only thing I want to say different is the equity. they don't buy these at a steal. I mean, sometimes they do, but usually they just get in there and get one a little below market. Mine was about 5,000 below market. Mine this last year gained 30,000 in equity. And I'm not in Florida, but you know, Andy,
Yeah.
Bob, I forgot Bob, but Bob told, there's crazy building going on in Florida. So, but none of these figures are that. I based all these returns off of a 4% appreciation. Florida will do that in the long term all day long.
Wow. So you're making money on the rent. You're making money on the increments of the valuation of the property, right? And so you have homes. How many homes do you have now?
I have 3 homes. I have one in Florida, 2 in Tenants. And I told my wife, see, I need about 10 more thousand. I'm going to buy another one. I'm buying one in Florida because it's just a great. There's no other place I would put my. And I used to do mutual funds, right? I used to have a 36 and 63 license, but you just can't beat it. You can't beat it.
So what's the typical like investment for like you coming into Florida? Like how much money does it take you to buy a home and have this whole formula done for you?
If a typical investor comes in, they would, well, I just did one, sold one to the missionaries because they're going to be leaving the country. And he wants to work on houses, but he will be in the Philippines, so he won't be able to do that. So about $73,000, give or take 3,000. $73,000 gets you into about a $200,000 house. It pays for everything, and that's where you get your return. And we do recommend, highly recommend, because people get nervous, like, oh no, I've got a house. What do I do? Like, don't do anything. We tell people put in 10,000 in, it's their money in their LLC in the checking account. We call it a SWAN account, sleep well at night account. So that if it were to get rented out for a month or two, or something happened, again, Chris, after 4,200 homes, 10,000 is more than enough to cover anything you could think of. That, oh, what if this happens? Then you're good to go. So 72,000 and then 10,000, which is just really a reserve for you.
And 72,000 is the down payment for the home, right?
Yes.
And also the buyout that you're paying Chris Crone and your team for doing all the work for you.
Yes, because Chris, they used to, people can still do. They can not do the buyout option. But they can own 50-50, and that's how we've done a lot. That's how I bought my home starting out, 50-50. Chris did all the work, and I still get about a 12% return down the road. The buyout option gives somebody, it upgrades, and they can get 16% return. So all of that done, and that includes the rehab, and rehab is very accurate. When they told me that's what it would be, that's what it was. And then Tyler Bennett, they have boots on the ground. They have a team in Florida that goes around and just does this. And again, here's the key, you guys, it's integrity. You're getting what you pay for. Real estate's good a lot of places that you can get positive. But if you don't have an ethical team, and trust me, people are out there that you won't always get that. And Chris Crone has proved it over the last 16 years.
So what I'm hearing from you is that the most important thing about this whole thing is like trust, right? Because how am I going to trust somebody with $73,000? It's very hard for me to trust somebody with so much money. And to make sure that I don't even know who the tenants are, like I don't know what the rehab is, like there has to be a trust factor here that, you know, has to be there. And what you're telling me is that somebody's done this 4,200 times, has hundreds, if not thousands of testimonials like yourself. Yeah. Like this is the right team to do this with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you want to be a silent investor and not worry about finding tenants, what kind of paint, finding contractors, finding realtors, finding brokers to help you close this deal, like you guys have everything to do with real estate. So I just have to put my money, be able to sleep well at night. And if anything happens, you guys take care of it. And you're sending me profit and losses reports every month on how much we made, how much we lost. And at the end of the day, I can sell my home whenever, or is there a date that I have to sell my home?
Yes. And I will say this, your profit and loss, you get a quarterly statement, which is nice every place. And you can also go check with the management company and see if there were any repairs, right? I don't even do that anymore now. I don't even know what's going on be report. I get my report into the year. Just it's worth it for me. And what was your second question, Andy? I already forgot.
So that I don't have to worry about who the tenants are or any of that. Like,
no, you're basically getting reports. And I want to say this. I have 3 kids, right? 7 grandkids. What I'm excited about, 2 of my kids don't even understand what I'm doing. Like, well, Dad, why are you getting property over there? But my son does. What I'm excited about is these are assets. Most people, if you've got an IRA, 401k or whatnot, you're getting the market. And the last 20 years, the market's averaged about 7%, right? This last year has been kind of crazy, but if you don't want craziness, right, go up and down. There's a lot of people right now that are taking their IRA money. And again, there's no penalty right now because of the COVID laws with that. They put their money in and you're going, here's a huge thing. If you're getting from an 8% to a 16% return, that's huge down the road, right? And what's really nice is my kids, I don't have to worry about when I kick the bucket, like, oh, okay, what are they going to do? No, they've got these houses in our trust. It's just, they're just going to keep those going. And 3 kids, I mean, if I've got 12 or 20 houses, I can just divvy those out with them. So it's a really nice, and you got an example.
So you don't have to sell the home. So you don't have to sell the home at any specific time. You can keep it as a legacy for your family.
Yeah, and we tell people this. That's right. That was the question. 7 years. If you're buying the house and you can't keep it for at least 6 years, you shouldn't do this investment because you're putting in a lot of money to start out, right? Costs, just financing that, so that you want to keep it 7 years. When I tell you 16%, that rate actually goes up, the return goes up. But 7 years, you keep that because it costs you when you sell your house, right? That realtor, all that's factored in. If someone keeps the house for 7 years and sells it, that's a 16% return they net. So you want to keep it at least 5 years.
Got it. And so the 16% more or less, give or take, is on the initial 70 that you invested, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So you invest, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000, usually in the 70,000 mark. You're gonna get 16% return 7 years down the line.
Yes. Yeah. And it's
beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. And most people get in real estate because they don't know. That fear, right, keeps us from doing. And especially you guys, if you're younger, you just got to look that up. You got to look at a graph with 7 or 8% versus 16% looks like if you're letting your money grow. And again, some people, Andy, they want to get into all that, right? They want to go in and bust out a wall and redo a bedroom. But most of us don't. Most of us, for me now, and I could do all that. I'm getting older now. My back was a little sore this morning. I just want to be with my grandkids. And when I get those reports, when I refinanced, they had me refinance my house in Florida. Florida went up again, 30,000 this year, 30,000 on that. And that was crazy. It won't do that every year, but I'll tell you this next year, it probably will do that again in Florida. It's crazy.
So Florida's a great market is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Craig, thank you so much for explaining this complex formula that makes investors' life easy. Silent investors, you want to own property and not have to worry about like renting, flipping, buying, brokering. Like this is all done for you. They find it, they find you the broker, they find you the bank, they find you the rehab, they find you the tenant, they manage the tenant, and then they manage any repairs that needs to be done. And then if you need to sell it, they'll sell it for you, right?
Yes.
And everything is calculated evenly so that you know exactly what the broker fees are, what the real estate fees are, what you're going to make on the sale, what you're estimated to make in 7 years. Like all this I've seen the formulas, I've seen the graphs. What you're saying is, most of the time you guys hit on the money in the mark with your projections and predictions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I end it with this, you guys all work hard for your money. Andy works hard. I know. Andy's a scrapper. I love listening to Andy and all that. But your money should work harder than you. And a lot of you guys, my custom agent friends, they work hard, but getting 3%. Man, get double-digit returns. So make your money work harder than you do.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is that the most difficult part of this entire operation, this entire investment, is trust. And that's hard. And that's hard to have, right?
Yes. That's why Chris, he does a YouTube every single day. And I know Chris, like he's in Utah. He's a great guy. And I've known him, other people that know him, like I'll hear other stories, and
yeah,
he's just the real deal. And you know what, in life, shouldn't this be, your family, people that are around you, you should be surrounding yourself with people of integrity, because that's what life is all about, isn't it, Andy?
And the other thing is that you can always hire an attorney to look out after your interests, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I mean, Craig, thank you so much for being here. Any final for you?
I would say this, my only thing I would have changed in life, Andy, is having a mentor. Like I bought that car, right? 25%, right. Just going out in life. This is one of those things. You could do things yourself, but get a pro. When I was younger, I was willing, I just said no. Have somebody around that knows what they're doing, that has integrity, and follow them. Don't reinvent the wheel.
Right. So what I'm hearing is mirror, match, and follow somebody's formula that's already done it and has 4,200 homes. Mr. Craig SoCal, thank you so much for being here, my friend. And if people wanted to find more information, how do they find you?
They can find me at Craig with a C. Chris Crohn's KK, right? I'm CC. Craig, CRAIG. Clingman, as in Cling Peaches, CLINGMAN. And you can look me up on my email, clingman1@hotmail.com. And feel free to look at those Chris Crohn videos. He's good.
Clingman is CLINGMAN. Clingman1@gmail.com.
At Hotmail.
At hotmail.com. Clingman1 at hotmail.com.
And I'll give you my cell number. My phone number, 951-255-1063. And I'd be glad to just go over a free consultation on with your finances, and then you can go from there.
Yep. Well, Craig, Mr. SoCal, thank you again so much, my friend, and enjoy the sunny weather you have behind you on that beautiful sunrise that's about to come out over there. Thank you so much, Craig, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Have a great day, my friend.
You too, buddy.